So what are you doing?
I'm just like fucking with textures at the moment.
Can we textures?
Fucking textures and I've always painted sort of quite an abstract way, and yeah, I'm just trying to like understand what that means at the moment for me, and like sort of question it all. But I'm still determined to use sort of like formalistic painting in a kind of interesting way, or like it's not really a conceptual thing. It's just like being in the moment and like trying to have like you have decisions that you make, and then letting the process take its own course. So we're like I'm trying to get past sort of like a ego-centric sort of practice, I guess, for my own sanity, you know, sort of get that internal monologue out of my head for a bit, and just like relax into the moment of everything, you know, because everything's in constant. You were talking about this in your little pamphlet, man. You know, everything's in like constant flux, and things that we think are like solid things are just part of part of this constant process of chaos.
Of all the works that are here, which should you start with? Like let's talk about this one.
Okay, I worked on them all at once.
So those three or the four of them, or
4 of them, yeah.
Yeah. So okay, I see. And the things in the wall?
Stuff I did over kind of started in my lockdown, and just got them up there for reference and stuff. But I'm planning sort of bigger pieces, so you have to come back at the end of the semester when things are a bit more concrete and together. Just like
how did those ideas came about though?
I don't know if they're ideas. I did just like I work on like small thumbnail sketches of just simple shapes and stuff, and then it's just a case of like blowing them up and having that structure of like formal shapes, and then also letting things happen, letting things take their course. I'm trying not to be too dictatorial about it, and let things sort of like grow naturally and see what happens, and make choices intermittently through the process about how it goes.
Why do you like that idea?
Because it's kind of liberating. Because you don't know exactly where it's going to go. It's very for that reason it's very frustrating as well. But there's also I like balancing things. I like a balance of design and engaging in that process, which could be chaotic, but like kind of chaos is like kind of like a different like realm of order, and you can use sort of chance and use those things like I think John Cage used to do all that, but like kind of influenced by that. Just using chance as a way of composing as well.
So even though you're working with chance,
well, not entirely, it balances with like the design. Yeah.
Exactly. When is a piece called a design for you?
When is a piece called a design?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's when it's like when I can see it in my head, you know, all the shapes and stuff.
Okay.
That's what I would describe as a design, or just like certain color combinations or certain ways that space and structure can be assembled.
Yeah.
But it's weird. It's hard to talk about. It really is, because like I don't know if there's much narrative behind it or anything. It's just part of a process of like kind of discovery, trying to keep things interesting. It's like the same. It's the same with music as well. The same I'm trying to like get past these dualities of cutting like my life up into different sections, you know, especially you know, creatively. Just trying to treat it as like one big sort of stream of interplay with like my surroundings and in dialogue with like our culture, or like I mean our culture is in human culture, in total. Yeah. So I'm influenced a lot by. I'm just really fascinated with like sort of non-Western textures and textiles, and I don't know how much of a lecture. I don't want to give a lecture, like really, but
Just let it be.
yeah, just I think like contemporary art was really influenced by other cultures anyway. Like you know, like Picasso like took all these African sculptures and they took that as like the inspiration for his like sort of cubist inventions and stuff. So, but that it gets incorporated into like this idea of high modernism and like Western superiority of taste and stuff. And it tries to separate itself from the rest of like the cultural milieu that went before and after. So don't know where I'm going with this point.
But what about your work? So do you feel like, because now I feel like you're starting to talk about the art world, perhaps.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Is it something that you're interested in?
No.
Do you know, like
I don't know.
galleries?
Yeah,
that kind of stuff.
I don't know. Like, it sounds pretty shit for someone in their fourth year of art degree, but that's a really interesting thing to think about though, because you know, what value do you put on things? Like, how do you weigh the value of your art? That's quite a difficult thing. Difficult thing to like to know how to deal with. Especially, you know, when it becomes commodity. What does that mean for you? You know? What does that mean?
Have you experienced that? Your artwork becoming commodity?
I've not really like put it out there, so I'm not really experienced it in that sort of context.
What about the album cover for the Surcat CP?
Oh yeah, well that's like the design element,
right?
Yeah, so that's like pure. Well, it's not pure. That goes like more of a focus on design and drawing. But yeah, I'd like to do more of that sort of stuff, like album artwork and stuff.
So
I just like see it as being an open thing, like a very open practice to like be willing to collaborate. And it was one of these things. Like sometimes I need like a commission, like someone to give me they want a product and they give you like free reign, but like they want it's a specific medium. It's like this is like for a CD cover, and then like we want a picture of our cat somehow incorporated into it. And that's all they wanted. So yeah, it was. I put quite a lot of work into it. Like probably got more into that than what I was doing like in uni for a bit. It was cool. It was a good experience, man.
So that's something on that side of the art world that you might still be interested in participating after university.
Yeah, because it has a function, isn't it? It's not just something on the wall. It has a function, and people can buy it. And people can buy, like something that's like a multimedia experience. It's tactile. You have like fusion of like music and words and the visual element as well.
So see with the one in the table, why is it in the table? And the other ones are hanging.
Dry, man. So
Even
many layers,
mm-hmm.
and like needed to be flat for it to dry. And I'm just layering. I'm layering paint and varnish, and I'm just trying to like tease out like surfaces and tease out like just the information, I guess. I'm building up a ground, and then after the ground is like how I like it, then some sort of structure is going to happen, and I'm not quite sure what that is, but there's a lot of small drawings, a lot of small like sort of basic designs where I want to see what that would look like. Superimpose onto sort of like a chaotic. So my where I'm going with this is like just splitting up the 3 different factors, like the ground, the structure, and then some sort of intervention on top, and see how those 3 elements like play into each other and stuff.
How do you describe the ground?
The ground is like chaotic. It's like pure chaos. And like I don't think about like graphic stuff. I think about like just pure texture and pure like it's like that's pure meditative act. It's pure like
this is this layer.
Yeah, it's like an unthink. It's like it's kind of like
intuitive.
Yeah, just trying to get beyond like the chattering, egoistic brain, and just try and get beyond that, and like sort of like in a visual way. It's kind of like a visual version of what I'd imagine like Zen Buddhism, Zen monks would do. It's a repetitive act, and like the mantras supposed to sort of disconnect your chattering mind from, to make you realise that that's not the most important thing. We're not just these, egoistic entities that are driven by, emotion. There's other things beyond us, beyond that sort of, that ego which tells us, which sort of like tries to tell us our story in our heads,
And what is the middle after the ground? Is any of those in the process of the middle?
That would be like starting to build up a structure, but that was just an experiment of like pure texture there. Monkey nuts. I don't know why monkey nuts. I ate a bunch of monkey nuts over the weekend a few weeks back, and I just wanted to do something with the shells. I was like, how you could just mash them up and then like make a gnarly texture. But they're actually quite hard to mash up. So most of them are sort of semi-whole.
So is the structure the middle ground because now there's a little bit of thought coming in, like conscious thought?
Yeah. You like sort of letting things like seep in, because these little drawings are things that like just pop into my head. These organizations of shapes or whatever and patterns, they'll come in and they'll sort of percolate down, and then I'll make a choice about what main structure to use, and then like just start building on top of the ground. But like that was just, I was just basically working around like where there wasn't any of these shells, so it kind of happened a bit more naturally, I guess. So that was more unexpected. I didn't have a design, and I don't have a design for that one, so that one's a bit more like of a wild card, I I guess.
Okay, more like a two process rather than the three process, which will now be intervention that you're talking about.
Yeah, like that's already kind of like
Yeah.
intervention. Yeah. But the intervention's cool, man. I like because I was starting to really appreciate the graffiti around Dundee and sort of like the gnarly background, the chip paint and the sort of windswept, like washed walls and stuff, and like, you know, like I don't know how many, like 40, 50 years of paint. Kind of like starting, you can see it in places on these old factory walls where like it starts to disintegrate, but the colours, like, it's actually pretty beautiful when you look at it. And I really like how graffiti can be, graffiti is like an intervention in that space, and it can be done in a really like subtle way, and also when it's big, it's almost like most people won't actually look at it, they'll just walk past it. It consumes a part of their brain, but not like the, you know, like if you were to bring graffiti into like a formal art setting, it would change its context. It would become like something that you just look at, like framed and stuff. Whereas when it's out in the street, it becomes kind of like the milieu, the just sort of the background, the background aesthetics of our town. Yeah, it's something I've been thinking about recently more. You know?
Did you come up with this three process step per se, or did you read it somewhere, or did you assimilate it? How did you discover that?
It just came out. I'm sure I've been influenced by something, and it's sort of like percolated down. But I can't think of what it is. But I just it makes sense to have three things to focus on for me. So. And three different levels of perception.
When you're playing in the band, does it contrast? Is it also the same sort of process? If it's something like a jam session? Yeah.
You find that, man. Depending on the jam, there's so many things that we do when we jam. Something we've done like quite recently is like, you know, like we'll start the jam and we'll go into something that just sounds like fucking great, straight off the bat.
So
that has a
ground.
That has an element of just, well, all of it really, ground structure, and then these like extended jams are like,
I see,
starting to get an element of like intervention, because when you stretch it out, you know, you start to like go around different notes, and you start to like play with like your riffs and stuff, and then you make sort of diversions, and it sort of gets incorporated into the whole thing. It's just funny that we're recording, what is it, 10 songs? We're recording an album, so we're like sort of, we're harnessing like structures, and we're harnessing like stuff that we've done, stuff that we've like rehearsed. Right? But we're also harnessing the elements of like sort of like controlled chaos as well. You know, stuff will come out. Someone will say something about like how that sounds good to them, and then, you know, like, and then we'll like, that will get incorporated into the sound of the music and stuff. So it's like, again, it's like we have that structure of the songs and Nick's lyrics and that, and the drum and bass drive, and but like I think every time we play, it's kind of I feel like it's different every time. I know it's something that you sort of enjoy. Is that having elements of spontaneity and that embedded in in this structure of playing in a banjo-driven punk rock band.
It's interesting.
Yeah, man.
The contrast between something visual and something phonetical,
Yeah.
sonic.
Yeah, there it is.
Sonic sound. See, again with those ideas, where were you when you decided to pop out the paper, and like, were you in Dundee or were you in France?
I was in Dundee for the stuff on the wall. That we did like a couple of weeks ago, and all these like weird drawings here, like I did in France, and like just like sort of mandala-esque meditations.
Yeah. Wow.
In my downtime.
Yeah, I really like this. It's obviously you can tell that it's like something that you've put work into. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Obviously you can. For someone that has experience painting or something, like that's also got a lot of time, but it sometimes might look more too abstract to comprehend, which is like a mandala. It has a form.
Yeah.
There's a
That's exactly it. That's the frustrating thing, is like how far to go each way, because it can get quite geometric and quite like structured, and I like that. And these were just, I have no pressure of any. I feel like the gaze of institution, like quite like profoundly. So I think that affects what I do a lot. It's just fucking being self-conscious.
So, if that gaze was not to be there, what do you think that the consequences would be?
Well, that's what I'm trying to like get into now. It's just pretending that I'm not being marked, basically.
Yep.
I'm just doing kind of what feels right to me.
Yep.
Not to say that I don't like listen to tutors and stuff, but I just take it. I take it with a pinch of salt, and I'm like, I have a fair sort of vision of what I want to do. So I'm not anywhere near there yet, but it's just sort of like putting out the tentacles and testing things, testing ideas out and stuff.
And what is that thing that you want to do that you're not near to? If we can talk about plants.
I guess that's where the ego cuts in, though, isn't it? It's just like imagining things that are like just nicely aesthetically put together, and that like have some sort of impact. But I think once I start thinking like that, I think things just fall apart. That's the paradox of like this process. If you try and grip it too hard, it like just like sand that goes through your fingers. Yeah. But I don't want this. I just don't want to be too much in control. I just don't like. It just sounds like we sort of being a cultural dictator, just dictating. Whereas like, I feel like art should be more in charge. Like what Jonathan Mee says. That sort of like vibe. It's like such in equal measures like frustrating and sort of and rewarding process. The creative process in general. Yeah, that's cool, man.
How did you end up working on this as a topic, as a concept?
What?
How did you end up
painting in general?
No. With the, let's say, the 3-step or the invisibility of the ego, or how can you point out at the works before you started working like this? Were you working on sound? Were you working on portraits?
No, I was always working on this quote unquote abstract. That was what got me into like the visual creative process in the first place. But I was also obsessed with sound as well. Through my teens and 20s, I just did a lot of like recording and a lot of like experimenting with like different like aesthetics in sound as well.
Well, are they called genres? Are they different aesthetics called
exactly.
genres?
Yeah, like fucking with genres and stuff. Yeah, and just like trying to find something that interests me, you know, that I haven't heard before.
What was that? Did you find anything?
Bringing disparate things together, you know. Just messing around with like everything from, this is all super lo-fi by the way, I just when I look back at it. Well, most of it's from like, not that, there's another disc, you know, like an LP had in the early 2000s. What are they called? Zip drive. So it's all like, it's not been
Altered?
It's not been altered, but it hasn't been like mastered or anything. And yeah, I just fuck with like noise stuff. I was really into like Japanese noise bands and yeah, just fuck with like different sort of noisy, arty, like, experimental sounds, and then just like played in a few bands and stuff. But it's funny, I was saying this yesterday, I find it funny how I'm playing in a band again, you know, and it's more serious. You know, it's more like I guess it's more rewarding, and everyone's like seems a lot more focused than what I remember from back in the day. Yeah, so it's cool, you know, just having another go, having like a chance to like play.
How did you
properly with people and stuff.
How did you get into music in the first place? Into playing an instrument?
I guess the family piano.
Oh, cool.
My dad plays guitar a bit, and he had this like inherited like this like stand piano, not like the big one. I don't know what they call it. But, yeah, I just tinkled around on that when I was a kid, and then parents are just encouraging of like getting us to play music. And we played the recorder when I was a kid, and my brothers both played the trumpet when they were like small as well.
Whoa.
And I played the flute actually in secondary school.
What?
And but yeah, I just got into like hard rock and heavy metal when I was 10, 11. I got interested in the guitar.
Holy moly. How did that happen so young?
My friends, like the friends I had when I was like 10, 11.
Yeah.
We just thought it was like the coolest thing in the world was just to play in like a band that had like power chords in it. You know, it doesn't matter what the music was. It's funny because like I was too young to understand what punk was, or the difference between punk and heavy metal. So yeah, we're quite obsessed with like heavy metal, and so I heard like the Sex Pistols and like Jimi Hendrix and all that at that sort of age. So I got something from just loud wailing guitars, I suppose, and I just enjoyed the energy of it, I guess. But yeah, I didn't play specifically bass. Like I played guitar and keyboards and stuff a lot in my teens and 20s. But I don't know, I just stuck with the bass. I just like its vibe, I guess. There's that like tension between, again, it's like it can be a background instrument, and assume it's going to be a background instrument, but you can actually sort of invert it and you can use it as a weapon, as the guy from the Clash would say, I think. Yeah. So.
And your first band? What was your first band?
Well, we were 10 or 11, we had a band called the Bloodhawks.
10, 11?
Yeah, well, we didn't like have a proper drummer. So it was more like we draw like heavy metal, like wannabe album sleeves and stuff.
Yeah.
Bye.
Right.
See ya. Shit. We tried to play together. Like my parents bought me like a really shitty quarter length bass. It looked like something like a really like dodgy knockoff of like some sort of 1960s garagey sort of bass. I think it was made of chipboard. Like it was really gnarly. And then like a little K amp, which was a solid state amp. It was a guitar amp, and it gave people electric shocks. Like I was scared of it because like it was super loud and super unpredictable, and it would just dish out electric shocks if you handled it in the wrong way. But we didn't have a drummer, and we just like, just fucked about. We're just kids, So I didn't do anything. I tried to play like jazz. I tried to learn jazz theory in my late teens, and a friend of the family's is jazz and sort of like keyboard player. I tried to play in his band, but I just couldn't get on with like, it's just too many notes. Too much fucking like emphasis on putting the right note in the right place. Yeah. But then I didn't do much until I guess it was like 21, 22 when I joined the band, a noisy, loud band, and played loud for a few years. That was probably like the proper first band.
Yeah. How did that came about? That band?
I just put an advert out. I dropped out of uni I tried to form a band in London when I was at uni. I dropped out of uni and everything fell through. And I started putting adverts out basically. And yeah, I didn't want to move back to London. I was just like done with it. So just got a ragtag sort of like motley crew of people together in rural Cotswolds, like near Stroud, which is kind of like an hour away from Bristol, sort of area. And we used to start rehearsing in an old like community hall in this like village, and just made a hideous noise. And we started playing shows around Cheltenham and Gloucester and Stroud. And then, just sort of embraced the mayhem of it all, I guess.
Was it that noise and chaos at the time that maybe led you to work into abstract? And probably not.
Well, yeah, everything's connected, isn't it? I guess like when you look at like the Taoist thinking, there's always like these two elements of the world in the universe. So there's a receptiveness, there's a creativeness, and there's a light and there's a dark. And I guess like the band stuff has always been like it's been more about catharsis and like this sort of excited energy, that needs to be expressed with other people who are like into that shit. Whereas painting is more of more of a meditative thing. It's more about, I'd say that's more about like stillness, you know? It's more about like, yeah, just like taking a step back. So in an ideal world, they would like complement each other, you know? I like the idea of like, you know, extremes, like super extreme music and then, you know, chill like music and same painting. You know?
What would be the next thing working on that once it's dry?
This?
Yeah.
That's a good question, man. Yeah.
Is it dry?
It is dry, yeah. I've not been in, so I'll put it up and I'll look at it for ages, probably, and then pick something out.
How do you hang it? You hang
2 nails at the bottom and 1 nail at the top.
2 nails at the
Slot
bottom.
it in and then bang it. So I'll just take that out. Probably not good for the wall. But at the moment, it's just the void. It's actually, I took these like boards out the skip, so there's actually someone else's painting in there, like underneath. You can still see it. I've been trying to get rid of that, but it's just been incorporated. My workstation's fucking a mess, man. I'll tell you that. Ooh, you've been in before. Need to get into printmaking as well. I think got a few ideas for that. More of a geometric thing.
So again, more to do with.
I've got this like net. I'm obsessed with this sort of grid, this netted grid pattern, and that will end up being something that I'll like improvise with and sort of do an addition of probably screen prints. I just don't have it on me, but I can't. I'll show you that.
That's cool.
Yeah.
How long does it take get you to get to uni from where you're staying?
Like 30 minutes.
30 minutes.
Depending on how fast I walk, or if I'm on the bike or not. The bike is like 10 minutes downhill.
Time machine.
Yeah. It's a bit longer going back because it's like up in Hilltown, like.
Yeah.
It's all uphill. It's not too bad.
Yeah.
It's not too bad, but you get soggy because it's rain so much there. We just get used to it.
Yeah, we've seen. I've seen you. The only time I saw you going downhill fast, you smashed like your knees against the pavement.
I got a nice like gnarly red blotch on my knee. Should turn it into a tattoo. Get like a smiley face down on it.
Yeah. Can we see it?
Yeah. That fucker.
Oh yeah. That's deep.
It's like the Scream, you know. It's like you could put like a little mouth there and alien eyes.
Oh yeah, totally. Totally like this. That's fun.
Yeah. That was a good day.
You're looking forward to recording on Saturday.
Yeah.
Are you using the hammer?
Should.
Yeah. Bring it just in case.
The grand finale. Yeah. Get all industrial. Fucking grizzly. Should be good, man. I feel like we've been having a nice like regime of like 3 times a week recording. Rehearsing has been like really cool. I don't know about you, it's sort of like given kind of a structure to the week. Especially before like uni started. You ready to head now?
Yeah.
I only wear like 2 hoodies. It's either this one or a black hoodie. That's what I wear. It's like the uniform now. Yeah. Oh, yes. Those go on the back. Can't wait to play loud music. Get rid of withdrawal symptoms. It's been more than a few days of like late person. Gonna have to invest in like proper earplugs though, dude. I feel that sort of like pain in my right ear a bit. That last practice, I think I stuck the tissue paper too far in. Too far in.
Fuck.
It's so mild out, man. Don't you think? Doesn't feel like winter. Hey Callum, how's it going, man?
I'm sure don't know what this is.
I'm really going to do a documentary for the recording we're doing. Like,
So it's just 24 hours of surveillance. Surveillance.
Yeah. So civilians.
we're like going to recording now. No, we're going to rehearsal now. Sorry. He gets the footage of us going, and he's already done like Nick's
Okay.
episode.
So like an interview on the way there. So
Yeah, we've already done like most of the interview.
I kind of feel like I'm intruding on it. I'm not. Am I?
No.
Okay, that's good.
No, it's good to see you, man. I haven't seen you for ages.
How's your sip going?
Yeah, it's alright. I'm slow. I tried to like do dissertation for a few days, so I didn't come in. But
I've been trying to do that at nights.
I'm not getting the words out. It's just I keep finding things to read and then going off on like tangents. But
I've like
it's alright. We'll get there.
I ended up like reading some books and like bringing in like religion to how our idea of consonance was kind of created.
Constance.
Like consonants.
Oh, right.
So like apparently like to get a more like godly sort of sound, it was like they wanted to bring like mathematics into kind of natural sounds. So I think I'm not 100% sure, but I think it's not like music's built on some like mathematical concept. I think it's like some parts of the world it's like Pythagorean and just changes depending on where you are in the world. Just because there's different like nature sounds to influence it and different like mathematicians.
I see.
So
That is
it's
interesting.
weird.
Yeah.
Because if you think about like kind of traditional music and things like that, without the influence of like religion, it's just you get some wild stuff. I think like it's to do with like the power of kind of mixing mathematics and kind of I don't know. So science is like fact, so it's kind of setting it in stone almost and making it seem like the true form of music. You know, don't know if I'm making any sense.
Yeah, it's really, really interesting, man. Like, are you reading like a particular book on it, or is it? It's just like a new discovery for you, like sort of like.
Yeah, that one's recent. I can't remember the author, but there's like a book, Noise Matters, and then a book called Noise by Atali, and then the book on noise is like political and economics of sort of sound in general, and then there's Cracked Media, which is about noise, but about people making instruments and things, and playing about with electricity and things like that. Don't know what I'm doing.
I mean, yeah, you totally should be reading all that stuff, man. I mean, you're so far into it, into the noise thing.
Oh, I haven't actually started writing anything, so don't feel bad.
Well, dissertation. I thought you wrote like loads.
I thought I did as well. But that was just kind of scraps for the plan.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna have to redo all that.
But like, man, I'm gonna have to read it. I'll read it when you're done, man, because it's really my kind of thing. Take it easy, man. See you later.
Okay.
Oh shit, we've got to go and get juice. So who interviews you? How does that happen?
I don't know. I'll talk about it somewhere. So.
You're going to interview yourself? Or is this just about how the band looks from your point of view? Because that might be quite cool, you know.
That could be quite cool.
Like the drummer films it, not like there's another person who's filming the whole band, but it's just like the drummer who's seeing the world through the drummer's eyes.
Yeah.
It's Dundee. It has like a punk scene for a start. It's always good. Dedicated like music venue and DIY collective. And yeah, I'm a fan of that. Fan of that shit. Which way are we going? That's we're gonna cut through there, yeah?
I follow you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's cool, man. Dundee's like small enough to get about quite easily, and but I just quite like the vibe. People on the street and stuff. You know. Pretty cool. Are we gonna be late? Fuck. Speed up a bit. Well, we kept the band together over the summer, didn't we? Somehow. We threw around like riffs and stuff, didn't we? And tried to build up on songs, like ideas that Nick had, and we threw them around on email, didn't we? Smells good. Are we in the street? Oh, we're in both. Hey guys, how you doing? How you doing? How are you?
Not bad, man, not bad.
Hey Tristan. Hey Nick. How's it going?
Oh, did I interview day?
Yep.
thinking about this the other day, like the difference between punk rock as a rock medium and punk as in the deeper meaning to it. You know? Like being a punk band.
Yeah, the ethics and
Yeah, and not the ethics of not being a guitar led or guitar like all over everything. And how that changes. It changes like the dynamics, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And like,
And it's harder. It's more of a challenge because it's easy just to plug in like an SG or something into a fucking crank Marshall and get like power chords.
yeah,
But it's a bit more of a flux with us, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
you just
like
just padding out your banjo now.
I never played with a pick. Like that was really like from the get go. I'm just like this doesn't
Super
work.
determined, man. Like,
Yeah.
Exactly. From the get go, you were just like.
Like,
It makes more sense to you like play because you were playing the guitar
Yeah.
and playing it like a banjo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was doing that anyway, so it's like.
But I got a lot of respect for your fingers.
Appreciate it.
What they go through.
But yeah, I feel like that's similar for you guys as well. Where like very specific, determined, stylistic parts that are like kind of interwoven with your personality and how you view music. Like Hooligan, you're a very determined, small scale drum set. Like that informs your creative output. And, yeah. It kind of gives a specific definition to the band that isn't just like I love Ramones core stuff. Like I love the Queers, I love Teenage Bottle Rocket, I love all that. But like there is a formula that you can do, and I don't know.
Some of the best shows I've seen are ones that are like, fuck, you don't know whether the band's gonna fall apart.
Yeah.
You know, it's sort of beautiful. Sometimes you can push things to a certain degree and it keeps together, but it's like it pushes up against something.
It's a fine line. You kind of want that. I don't like polish. That's something that I really just
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it?
sonically. I just don't like when everything is so
It's so
perfectly
obvious,
in
isn't
time.
it? It's so obvious when you listen to raw punk stuff and then you go back and listen to that stuff that was polished.
Yeah.
And that attempt of like fixing things to the extent becomes like it inhibits it for us.
Yes. Yeah.
Because we like that's the element of noise, I guess.
Yeah, and almost the athleticism of playing, because like we were just all of us constantly giving like 110% and like sweating and hoarse and like the athleticism of making this incredibly like I don't know. I like to think of it as really driving.
Yeah.
I like that it just really drives into the next song each time.
See how other bassists play it, like I'm super like spazzy on the bass.
Yeah.
Like I just can't help to get into it. I know it's like I'm not gonna fuck up a lot more because I play it into it a lot.
Yeah.
I just like the honest sort of expression.
Yeah, I think spazzy is a good word to describe all three of our styles in its own, like even vocally, just like very trying to communicate so much so quickly.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that's
You're
definitely
you're
the
becoming famous for that, though, man.
yeah. I do think I'm gonna go with orange.
Cool. I'll be able to hear you better actually,
Oh really? Okay.
because you're higher up.
Yeah.
But you didn't fuck with the settings last time, did you?
No, I didn't touch it. I just plugged it into whatever it was set to. I set it to clean and no gain, but like
Did he?
other than that, I didn't really mess with it.
Has he given you like some padding?
Yes. I don't think he's in right now. Because I think Harris has that cut.
Is he gonna cut it? Oh, alright, cool.
Yeah, cut to like just the shape of it, which should be
Awesome.
good for live stuff.
Yeah, that's the thing. Then you can bump up the treble and cut it through.
Yeah, exactly. Because like,
You get to this point, you get to this threshold, and then
yeah, it just starts to reverberate. Yeah. Because like shirts are nice and stuff, but they are pretty porous. Like just having actual foam baffling would just be perfect for it.
Yeah. Now your strings.
Pardon?
Did you change your strings?
Yeah, we're getting got bronze ones for the recording.
Oh, have you got the new banjo?
Not yet. No, it's in the mail.
It's in the middle.
Yeah, I think so.
Cool.
Yeah, because
Cat says no, it came, but they've got it.
okay, yeah, picked it up from the Manchester.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's from like 1940, and like
It's from 1940.
yeah, it's like just an English company that used to make Reliant. They were called. That was like a pre-war company, but it was just like for pickup only at a hospice in Bury, and so like nobody was gonna go out of their way to pick it up. Yeah, so it was like 40 pounds. It was like yeah, it was like so cheap.
Was it complete with the resonator or just the back like that?
Yeah, no, it's an open back, but it didn't have like a tailpiece or a bridge or anything, which was another